everyone, thank you so much for coming back to my channel. So I've gotten a lot of requests to do videos on my training and what it was like. So you guys submitted a lot of questions on Instagram for me to present in this video. So here I go, and there's so many questions that you guys submitted, by the way, so be expecting more of Q&As on this particular topic regarding training. First question is from Vincent.A. Question: what type of mannerisms did they ask for while you were Princess Jasmine? Thank you, Vincent, for commenting. I almost kind of feel like I should tell you a little bit about my training before I start answering these questions. You've probably heard me talk about my audition story before in previous videos. I'll try to leave a link down below that goes into more detail. So I got hired right there instantly. Like Rachel and I said in the past, they didn't waste any time when they hired us. They were like, oh, I think I made a pretty good Jasmine. I made a good impression at the audition when I was in full costume. I sucked at dancing, so apologize if that word offends anyone. Anyway, no, but I had a wedding to go to in Colombia, South America. My family is from Colombia, South America. So I told Disney, hey, I can't start working for you guys for like another month or two. And they were like, that's cool. Just let us know when you get back from Colombia, and then we'll make sure you're on the schedule for when you get back. So I had to go to Colombia for a wedding that got postponed, but it's all good. I was having fun in Colombia. But it kind of, you know, could you imagine the excitement of knowing that in a couple of months you're going to be working at Disney, performing as a Disney character, something you love? And I loved going to Disney. My fiance and I used to go all the time. Okay, so maybe it was June or July when I auditioned. My core character training, because I got trained first as a fur character. All princesses, unless they are in a rush to get you out there, because I was really jealous. There were a couple Cinderellas who were hired and they didn't have to do fur character training. They just bypassed that and went straight into princess training. Because fur character training, I'm not gonna lie, they put their blood, their sweat, and their tears into their characters. They work, you know. Those fur characters, do not underestimate them. They work their tails off for the guests at Disney. Those people have heart. They don't do it for the fancy dresses. They aren't getting the accolades that the princesses get. No, those people are working. So shout out to all the fur characters out there. I know. But most of the princesses know, because they had to go through the fur character training. And my fur character training happened during August. I actually was doing Pluto. It was the first time I had ever done Pluto, and it was the day that Hurricane Charlie hit, and the first time Disney ever like closed their doors, Disney World, because they don't close, rain or shine, they are open every single day of the year. So that was kind of scary driving home from training. I remember that the wind was like blowing me off the road. So be prepared, you people who don't live here. We have hurricanes in Orlando, so watch out. But anyway, so I remember that was a big deal, and we got hit with 3 hurricanes back to back. And I remember I saw on my schedule that I was scheduled to do princess training. So I actually went online and I saw that it said princess training. I was like, ah! But then the hurricane hit, and I remember I couldn't get to work because like it was like the 3rd hurricane that was hitting us, and I was so upset. I was like ready to drive to Disney. I didn't care if it was raining. I was like, I'm gonna get there. But no, the lady called. She's like, we've got to reschedule this princess training because you can't be driving through this hurricane. And I'm like, no, I'll come. They're like, no, stay home. And I was like, oh, I was so sad. So I did like fur character training in the middle of August, and then I want to say it was like another month I had to wait before they trained me as a princess. And I was thinking, how long is this gonna take? Are they ever gonna train me as a princess? Am I always gonna be doing fur? Like, I was ready to go now. I was like seeing some of these Cinderellas that were just already working, and they were hired alongside me, and here they were already doing their princess thing. Why wasn't I doing Jasmine, you know? Like, so there's that. weeks of waiting that went by for me. And so then finally there were no more hurricanes, like, you know, the skies had cleared, and I was on the schedule to have my first day of training as Princess Jasmine. So I was so excited. And I met my trainer. She was this girl, I remember she was very thin. I don't remember her name, but she was a very experienced princess. And I forget what all roles she did, but she was a very seasoned princess. I do remember that. And she was a little older than me. She seemed very confident in herself, whereas me, I was like nervous and unsure of myself, but new and excited. And she had this kind of attitude about herself, like, I've been there, done that, sweetheart, you know, but like super nice though at the same time, if that makes sense. But she's like, yeah, I've worked in Tokyo. She kind of gave me a little bit of her background of working for the Disney company. So she's kind of like a mentor, somebody who has been there and done that, essentially. So that they, you know, nothing surprises them. They know it all. So that's what they're there for. So I remember she met with me. I don't even remember where we were when I first got hold of her. I wonder if she even recognized me on the bus, because on the bus you can kind of tell who's the fur character and who's the face character. Some of you characters who are working, or people who work alongside, can you tell who's a character? Their bags are usually blinged out with the characters that they portray. Like the guy who does Tigger, you might know that he does Tigger because on the bus ride going into Magic Kingdom, his backpack will be a Tigger backpack. He'll have like Tigger this, Tigger that, Tigger shirt, or something that lets you know, okay, this guy probably does Tigger because he's a little bit obsessed with Tigger, you know. So same thing, like all the Cinderellas, all the Snow Whites, they usually collect everything that they can of their character, just because you're doing the character all the time and you love your job, so you're a little bit obsessed. I'm just gonna keep it real. I don't know, tell me, comment below, you can remain anonymous if you have seen this sort of thing happening. I saw it, but anyways, so she might have even, I don't know, because somehow, I just remember her and I talking on the bus. Anyway, back to the story. Like, this is 13 years, so I'm trying to remember it all. So then I remember she had like folders and she was dressed kind of business attire. And it was just me and her. She was one-on-one with me. And I remember she came to me, oh, that's right. She taught me, she's like, okay, Jennifer, you know where all the fur characters get their costumes. Now I'm gonna go and show you to the face character costume room, because at the time they were separate. I think now, at least when I left, they were together. That was back in 2009 when I left. But at the time they were separate. So she took me to the room and she showed me like where I get my costume. She helped me get fitted properly for the Princess Jasmine costume, because she had performed Princess Jasmine in Tokyo Disney. And I kind of felt like at the time that I was hired, there weren't a lot of like ethnic background Princess Jasmines. They had a few Caucasian girls, like dark, like kind of like Belle. Yeah, they had a lot of girls who did Belle and Jasmine, but they didn't have a lot of girls who were just Jasmine. And maybe they did have them before. It was just at the time that I was hired, they didn't have a lot of just Jasmine. So anyway, I remember she helped me with my costume. She helped me pick the right size and make sure that I knew my way around that costume room. She wanted me to know, look, these are some of the issues you might have with your sizes. I had really big feet. I have the size 10 foot. So she was helping me find the size 10s and like where could I always find, I don't know, because the shoe area was kind of a crazy hot, like it was organized, but at the same time it was organized, unorganized, I guess, kind of. Or, you know, you just want to know your way around, like where do they keep stuff and what I should do if they don't have my shoes in stock. Because I think there were only like 2 pairs of size 10s. So sometimes I had to wear Prince Ali's big, you know, I had to wear the men's shoes. The Prince Ali shoes. I don't know if you can still do that because they changed the costume for Prince Ali. Somebody commented to me on YouTube that Aladdin's no longer at Epcot. I was devastated when I heard that. I don't know anything about that. I'm just hearing news of that. I don't know if that rumor is true, but that's crazy if they took him away, but that's neither here nor there. Back to training. I remember trying on the costume, like it was the first time I had tried on the costume since my audition, because at the audition they had me wear the costume. And I remember like knowing my sizes, by like I knew how the costume fit, you know, just we went in a full length. I remember in the bathroom there was a full length body mirror, and I remember us standing in front of it, and I had my regular hair like down or whatever, but I was just wearing a costume, and she said something very uplifting and encouraging to me, like you're a good Jasmine, like you're a skinny Jasmine and you're a natural Jasmine. And I just, because if you know my story, I used to struggle with my weight in high school. I'll put a link down below about that too if you haven't seen that video. I don't know, she made some kind of remark about me looking good and slender, you know, like the cartoon, because Jasmine, you know, I remember it meant so much to me because she was a seasoned character, and she was someone who, you know, as one of the older princesses and me being a younger princess, I looked up to her, and so the fact that she said that made me feel more confident, you know, and that's essentially her job, is to make sure that you feel good about yourself in the princess role. And so once we got that all out of the way, then we moved into cosmetology, and she showed me like where I think I got fitted like officially for my wig. They were gonna make a wig just for me, and I was getting to know the ladies in cosmetology, who were these women that I was gonna be working with every day, because you get to know the cosmetologists a little bit to a degree. And you know, I knew I had my favorite cosmetologists, because some of them were really good at the wig and they made it just right, or we meshed. And then there were some cosmetologists that they were just kind of like our sense of style clashed, I guess. You know, maybe they had been working there for a long time and they had their way. I tended to prefer the younger cosmetologists, because I felt like me and that, like our heads just kind of, you know, because the more seasoned cosmetologists, they have their way, and the younger ones are new and fresh, and they were bringing a different vavoom to the wigs and to the makeup, in my opinion. So, you know, you got to keep it fresh. Got to keep it fresh. That was my opinion and my way. But so that, I remember that about cosmetology. But anyway, they came and, you know, they wanted to make sure that I knew how to do my makeup for Princess Jasmine, and they wanted to see me apply the makeup that they had that was assigned to Princess Jasmine. And they had all the makeup, so I didn't have to buy or spend a dime on anything. However, I chose to buy my own makeup. I didn't really care for the Ben Nye makeup. Ben Nye was the brand that they used, except for some things. That lipstick, loved Ben Nye lipstick. Loved it. But everything else, like at the time, I just wanted to get like the MAC Cosmetics was it. This is before Sephora. Sephora was not a thing in 2004. Nobody had heard of Sephora, but MAC Cosmetics had a name for themselves, and they did stage makeup. So I used to buy MAC. I used to get 20% off or 30% off. I got a really good discount. I remember that. It was like, I want to say it was like 30% off of the makeup. So I used to buy everything MAC makeup because I worked for Disney. That's why I got the discount. So that's another story. I remember when I did my makeup, or they were showing me how to do my makeup and put on the false eyelashes. They wanted to make sure I knew how to do all of that. So they really took their time making sure that the physical appearance that I was going to be doing on, that was day one of training. It was all on physical appearance, like the first half of the day. So that was really exciting, super fun, learning all about cosmetology and makeup and all of that. After all the physical stuff was taken care of, then I think we had lunch, which was really fun, sitting with her and just talking to her, kind of getting to know her a little bit. You know, it's kind of funny though, I don't remember seeing her much after my character training. I think I saw her maybe once or twice. I think, did I mention she had worked overseas in Tokyo at one point? Tokyo Disney Sea. She used to do Princess Jasmine a lot over there. But she was more of a Belle type girl. But anyway, she ended up, I think she changed departments after she trained me, or she moved up in the company, or she got a different job, but I never really saw her again. I don't even remember her name really. So then after lunchtime, then came getting down to business, the character of Princess Jasmine. And so this is where I guess I can answer the question, what type of mannerisms did they ask for while you were Princess Jasmine? They actually had a book, a folder that they gave me that had Princess Jasmine's mannerisms and talked about how she stood, how she carried herself. And I remember some of the things that struck me is they said she was very confident in herself, but without being snobby. So that's a very fine line to try to walk. How do you present yourself as, I'm a princess? Because Jasmine, she was very strong, very self-assured.
Oh no, my camera cut out. The video comes back on, but just anyway. I think I went on to talk about posture, how important posture was for Princess Jasmine as far as mannerisms. Just having your shoulders back, chest out, you know, suck in that waist. You never just let it all hang out there. So I tried to eat light during lunch. I think I mentioned that in the past videos, but yeah, so posture was something, the way she stood, the stance that Jasmine had, no bending at the waist. I remember that was something that was outlined in the paperwork that they gave me, not to bend at the waist and to avoid just showing rolls on your waistline. If that's at all possible, I don't know. Even if you're super fit, I think you can't totally get rid of rolls on your waist. So I think that that's why they just wanted to avoid bending. So I remember when I would sit down, I used to sit without trying my best not to bend at the waist. So coming down, you know, you really work your leg muscles when you sit like that. It's all about the thighs, doing your squats at home, I guess. I don't know. I was doing squats all day with these 3-year-olds. But anyway, also the sayings, types of things that Jasmine would say. And so they had a whole list of those, and you can just go and watch the movie and write everything down that Jasmine says. Go watch everything you can of Princess Jasmine. I even bought like DVDs that weren't part of the movies, like just cartoons of Jasmine, just so that I could get more of an idea of her character.
So after I had went over all of the questions that were in the little paperwork stuff that she gave me, she had me perform for her, and I had to, she pretended, and so we kind of did like a little mock guest interaction, kind of like if you saw Confessions 3 with Rachel, when I was portraying my first time doing Angela, and she was pretending to be Snow White for you guys. But it was kind of like that, but not so corny or cheesy or anything. But yeah, and I remember standing up for her. She was sitting down and she was throwing out questions, back-to-back questions, and I had to come like you know, knocking out every single question that she was throwing at me. And it was fun, you know, and she wanted to make sure that I did a good job, and she would give me feedback. Like if there was something that maybe was a little less than ideal, she would give me tips on how to handle it and what to say to guests and things like that. So I just remember that. And I mean, we probably took like, I guess it didn't take all that long. Maybe she thought I did a good job. I don't know. But I was so excited. I just knew that. And I had already owned the Disney DVD of Aladdin, and I was watching it all the time. And I remember at the end of that day of training, she said to me, you need to be watching the Aladdin movie. And that goes for all the characters that you do. I think whether you're a fur character or not, watch the movies, because you get so many ideas on, even if you're a fur character, like if you're Rafiki, like I used to do Rafiki all the time, by watching the Lion King movie, you can see how Rafiki carries himself, see how he moves. What are some key mannerisms that Rafiki used to do all the time that I was able to bring to my performance when I would perform for guests. So same thing with Jasmine. I often stood with my hand on my hip, and I don't know if she did that or not, I don't remember, but it just kind of seemed like something Jasmine might do. But even looking at coloring books, because we used to have the princess coloring books in the break rooms for the Disney princesses, and on our breaks we would just color in the coloring books. And I would get ideas on how to pose just by looking at those coloring books. And you often saw Aladdin and Jasmine just like all over each other in these coloring books. But when you would look at the pictures of Aurora and her prince, they were so, you know, modest in the way they were together. Like Cinderella was so modest with her prince, but then Aladdin and Jasmine were like about to make out or something like that. It was kind of funny to me. So yeah, she just told me to be watching the movies, which I already was. So she just wanted to make sure, because you can say you watched the movie, but are you just saying that, or are you really watching the movie? So she wanted to insist that I watch the movies and the other ones too, because there's part 2 and 3. Part 3 is where Aladdin and Jasmine get married, in case y'all didn't know. But they had a library there where you could go and check out DVDs, and she showed me the library and where I could find all the DVDs for every single Disney movie there was. I think they even showed me that in the core character training when I was training to be fur. Everything that we did was very specific to princesses that day, and that was day 1. Then day 2, I only had 2 days of training to be Princess Jasmine. Same thing with Pocahontas. It was day 1 was going over the costuming and the makeup and all of that, the physical appearance, and then after lunch it was all like book work on Pocahontas and knowing how to reply to guests and knowing everything I needed to know about Pocahontas. And then day 2, however, for Princess Jasmine and Pocahontas, day 2 was that was where I actually had to do it all by myself. Like it was like a regular shift as Princess Jasmine, except that I was being watched like a hawk to make sure that I was doing everything right. So I had to remember everything that I had learned on that first day of princess training. I had to remember it all. So I remember being nervous, wanting to remember it all, getting there super early, having all my makeup. I remember she told us that we could get in trouble if we showed up to work. Even if we were scheduled a first shift, we always had to have our makeup with us. So every single day I had to bring full makeup ready to go to be Princess Jasmine, because sometimes it happened that even if I was scheduled for a fur character, the Princess Jasmine might call in sick and they needed to get me out of fur costume to go be Princess Jasmine or whatever. Maybe they needed, for whatever reason, if they needed to fill a hole, they would use, you know, they could pull me at the drop of a hat. So then I remember that day being nervous, like getting ready to do Princess Jasmine, and just, I think I remembered it all. It wasn't that hard. I had already been doing fur characters for about a month already, so I was just excited that this time it was for Princess Jasmine. I won't forget though, in the cosmetology room, when I did my makeup, you know, I didn't, because I already kind of had, you know, I have the Hispanic background or like some kind of ethnic appearance, I didn't feel the need to put all of this eyeliner and all of this, you know, I don't know, I didn't have to paint my eyebrows black. You know, some of the girls who did Belle had to draw on like dark, big, thick eyebrows, but I already, you know, my eyebrows aren't as thick as they used to be, but I didn't feel need to like draw anything on. They were already there. I had a unibrow as a kid growing up, you know, so I didn't have to do all of that. And so I remember when she saw me, the trainer, she said, "Oh, you're like a natural Jasmine, like all natural. You weren't putting on all the makeup that," she was used to teaching girls to like use big black eyeliner. Like they used to do like that whole Egyptian eye all the way to kind of give this, you know, faux appearance of ethnicity, if you will, you know, exoticness or whatever. My interpretation of Jasmine, I didn't want to bury her with so much makeup. Although as time went on, I got more and more into the makeup, and I would get more experimental with my eyeliner as time went on. But When I first started, I was much more, I had a more gentle hand with my makeup. Anyway, so I did, my makeup got approved. They gave me the thumbs up, because you always get your makeup approved before you go out on set. Every day you had to have your makeup approved. They had to make sure you were looking okay to represent. So then I remember going out for the first time, and it was, it's the training day, and I had like managers that were standing back watching me when I went out on set. And they've remodeled the teardrop. It used to be called the teardrop, where the characters used to go out for the first time for training, And it was over by the train in what was Toontown, the big tent where Mickey and Minnie's house used to be, and now Mickey and Minnie's house isn't there anymore. But I remember the teardrop and going out and being so nervous, but so happy and so excited at the same time, and still confident, and just wanting to love on the kids. That was what was in my head. Like, I want to love on these children. I just wanted to love on them. I was so excited to be performing for them, and I knew what it was. It was almost kind of like an out-of-body experience, because I remembered seeing Jasmine from the outside looking in, and now it was the other way around. But in my heart, or in my head, I was still seeing Jasmine from the outside looking in, because she was still so brand new to me performing that role. And so I remember Jasmine used to have these beads that hung down, like they I don't know if I should say this. This is definitely like a confessions of a retired Disney princess thing to say, but they called those beads the pubic beads, because they were like down there in that area. That sounds terrible, but that was their nickname. But I remember letting kids play with those beads, because they used to pull on every, like, she had jewels. Jasmine used to have a lot of jewels all over her, and kids were always wanting to touch everything on your costume because it was sparkly and shiny, and those beads used to sparkle and glimmer, and kids grab, especially 1-year-olds and stuff, and I didn't know any better, and I let them. And I remember when we got off set for the first time, because they would only let me out for like 30 minutes at a time, I want to say. On my break, they were like, "You never let children play with the pubic beads. That is not good. Those are, they were like, that's not." I remember like getting in trouble for that, and being like, "Oh, I didn't realize I was supposed to shield that." I know. So that is too much information. I might edit that out. I'm not sure if I will leave that or not. It's kind of a funny story. But now the costume has changed. That's not an issue anymore. They did away with that. But at the time, that was an issue. So yeah, maybe I will leave that just for nostalgia, for those diehard Disney fans who want to know every nitty gritty. But otherwise, they said I did great. And they really didn't give me any bad feedback. It was all a really positive experience. And I want to say I did that a couple more times maybe. And then at the end, they told me, "You're approved. You're a great Jasmine." Like, to encourage me. And then I want to say we went to lunch again. And then when we were done with lunch, I remember I went back to meet up with her again, and this time she was doing, she did something where it was like me and a few other face characters in a room, and the trainer was talking to all of us. And I remember one of the other girls was a Cinderella, and somebody else, I don't remember who the third person was, or the fourth person. And I remember the Cinderella, and I want to say her name was Jackie. And she and I became, like, at the time, like, good friends within like a 3-year period, but we never kept in touch. And now it's kind of like a vague memory after, there were so many wonderful girls and so many people that you meet, but it's kind of like, we all kind of have our own lives, and, you lose touch. I don't know if people lose touch now. I don't know. I kept Rachel. I held on to Rachel, but she was so wonderful, and it's like we were all in the same boat, these girls. We were all together, excited, and she was kind of mentoring us at this little meeting of, you know, you guys are about to go out and be princesses. And I remember she kind of gave us advice on how to feel about being a Disney princess. And one of the things she said was, you're going to be told that you're beautiful all day long. Everybody's going to tell you you're beautiful. Don't let it go to your head. I remember she told us that. She's like, because you're replaceable, and they're going to say that to the next girl who's Princess Jasmine or whoever, whatever princess you are. And they're going to tell them the same thing. It's not, you're not special, you know? Like, and she's so right, you know, and you definitely don't feel that special when they tell you that you're beautiful, because it's true, they tell everybody that. But, you know, so it was kind of like you would hear it, but you didn't take it to heart kind of thing, because everyone did tell you that, you know, like, but you knew that it was just your costume. You knew that it was just your wig. And if you've heard some of my other videos, I talk about when I was a fur character, how nobody ever looked at me or noticed me or held the door open for you. You know, you get treated very differently when you're a princess versus a fur character. At least that was my experience. My personal experience was I was treated very differently the days that I was performing a princess versus the days that I was doing fur. So, so you see how people treat you based on your physical appearance or what it is you're doing or who they think you are or your reputation or whatever. So it's just kind of interesting, you know, to see and note. But I remember that stuck out to me. And what also stuck out to me was getting along with that Cinderella, because I think I had my feelings hurt a little bit when I was doing a fur character, and when I was first trained as a fur character and when I was first performing, I saw a Cinderella in a break room, and she totally ignored me and didn't pay attention to me and acted like I wasn't in the room, and I got my feelings hurt, you know. And you know, I thought to myself, I don't ever want to be a snobby princess. But now looking back, like, I see now that she wasn't necessarily ignoring me. It's just that she was kind of, sometimes you have things on your mind, you know, maybe she had a boyfriend that she was thinking about. She was just focused on her job and she was in her own little world. But I think one of the things, and if you do become a Disney princess, don't forget that the role is very special, and other people outside of that role who really want your role, you sparkle like a diamond. She glittered, she lit up the room, and you don't realize, like, she took it for granted. She probably didn't realize that she lit up the room, and that her smile and even just her acknowledging me like would have meant a lot to me, because to me she was special because she was doing such a special job, you know. But because there were so many Plutos and so few Cinderellas, and although there were a ton of Cinderellas for being a face role in the character world, there were so many Plutos versus so many, you know, so few Cinderellas. There was only, you know. Don't forget that your outfit sparkles, even if the outfit stops sparkling for you one day, because you're so used to seeing your princess dress that it starts to lose the glitter. Don't forget that other people don't see the glitter every day, and for them your sparkle still sparkles like brand new, and they still get excited to see you. Even if you're not excited to be Cinderella that day or whatever princess you are, Queen Elsa or Moana, even if you're not excited to be that character, you see it every day, but other people are still excited. So
thank you guys so much for watching this video. So I'm going to be doing more question and answers on the training topic so that I can get more in depth and answering your questions that you have on this subject. Comment below if you have more questions you want me to cover in a future video that are in regards to training, and I will try to tackle some of those. And I hope you guys are having a great day. Please like this video if you liked it, share this video if you think someone would like it, subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos like this, and have a great day everyone. Bye bye.